So I don't know what happened there. I guess maybe they censored my showing the. Maybe that was too political. You know, Facebook is not letting. Well, we won't let you see who it is there. But anyways, maybe Trump is censored in more ways than one. So let's get started. And so I hope that well, a comment will appear at some point, and we'll know that people are there. Well, today is Rainfire, and we're going to be having songs all about rain, just because it was so great. I was in my classroom. I was up till 1:30 in the morning 2 nights ago working on this great project. If you haven't seen Squirrel Obstacle Course on YouTube, check it out. It's by a guy named Mike Rober, and he has a class which I'm taking about creative engineering, which is really fun. So anyways, I was in my classroom today trying to sleep on the desk, and the rain started coming down, and it was just the perfect lullaby music. Hey Kyle, how you doing? So let's get started here with these are stories kind of about people that are happy. You know, you've heard the saying, if you love your job, you don't have to work a day in your life. Well, here's a guy that really loves his job. His name is Saeed Al-Sayaf. And his name in Arabic, translated to English, says, Happy Swordsman Executioner. Yes, that's his job. He, as the official beheader of Saudi Arabia, like, you know, with those big sword that they come down on the bad guys with. And he's beheaded more than 600 criminals as the official executioner of Saudi Arabia. On the job for more than 35 years, Al-Saif's starting salary was $36 a month. That's just like base pay, and $133 a head, or a head separated. And then just to show how much this guy really gets into his job, and maybe in some people's eyes doesn't really get what he's doing, says, I always look forward to the opportunity to chop off more heads so I could earn more money. His most memorable execution was 12 beheadings in one session. 1979, he just still remembers that one. I've just been reading about the Code of Hammurabi. You know, the ancient Babylonian king who made this code that said if a superior person kills the daughter of another superior person, then the offended superior person can kill the daughter of the first one. But if a superior person kills the daughter of a inferior person, a slave or just a commoner, then they have to pay, 30 shekels or something. It's very, it's really interesting, the gradations. Well, now we have the sort of modern thing. This is in Iraq in 1990, and they have recently decreed that an Iraqi man who kills, quote, even with premeditation, his own mother, daughter, sister, aunt, niece, or his cousin on his father's side for adultery will not be brought to justice. Men were also allowed to kill the lovers of their female relatives if the act of adultery takes place in the family home. No mention, it seems to be made, of what happens to the men who commit adultery, but that's a whole different thing. Okay. So we have just a few more stories from guys that kind of, well, I don't know what the common theme is here, but Michael Dickerson, 28, of Warren, Ohio, bet somebody that he could drink 30 shots of cognac, and he bet him $50. Well, he lost the bet because he only made it to 18 shots and then collapsed and choked to death. So I guess he double lost the bet that way. Okay, Paul Wren, a small, stocky Baptist minister in Christopher, Illinois, allows worshipers to jump on his stomach, drives nails into boards with his hands, and lifts worshipers by his teeth, using a special mouthpiece attached to a leather strap. I'm sure somehow this is connected to religion. During a 1988 demonstration, he lifted a 385-pound coal miner 5 inches off the ground. He has this strap in his mouth, and then the strap goes around the coal miner, and he lifts him 5 inches off the ground before the mouthpiece slipped leaving 5 of Wren's teeth dangling outside his mouth by the roots. He calmly finished the sermon, maybe a little bit garbled, and then requested medical attention, which necessitated 8 shots of painkiller before the roots could be extracted. And post the carrier, sometimes like, well, if that gets started, where's it going to end kind of thing. Postal carrier John Cade was placed on 5 years probation for having hoarded 3 tons of undelivered mail in his home. Much of it was buried in his backyard over a 3-year period. Cade said, you ever seen those mail carriers? They have a tough job. They have that big satchel they have to carry, and then you have to find the right mail and put it in the box. And, there's a lot of mail in there, and it's got to be all organized. And, 1-letter mistake. So he had leftover mail in his pouch one day and figured, if I go back to the office and my supervisor sees that I'm incompetent, then who knows what might happen to my job. So what he did was he started to hide it in his house. And as he says, things started to get out of hand. So 3 years and 5 tons of undelivered, 3 years and 3 tons, 5 years probation of undelivered mail. And government investigators, this is a true football lover, football as in soccer, but everyone else calls it football, so that's what we're going to call it here. Captain Cesar Garces, 32, flew his Boeing 737 off course in Brazil for 3 hours before crash landing in the Brazilian jungle. And the reason that he was a little distracted for 3 hours is that he was listening to a football match on the radio. Goal! Oh, and this one is just so cute. I have been told that I was born at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, just in time for tea. Well, 2 escaped convicts, Ian Openshaw and John Corbett, were successful in their escape from England's Dartmoor prison, but they were arrested less than a mile away because it was afternoon when they got out and they stopped for tea. Tea time, of course. How could you not? And grenade-wielding Zhang Yongsheng attempted to rob a bank in China's Henan province, and he threw a hand grenade to threaten the cashier. This is a robbery, give your money. And so he threw the hand grenade because she wouldn't give the money. I guess it's she. So the cashier picked up the hand grenade and threw it back at Zhongsheng, who was holding 7 sticks of dynamite at the time. He won't have the guts to do that again. And our last story here. Have you heard about that Make-A-Wish Foundation lady? It's such a wonderful, heart-rending thing where some kid who's got some, tragic disease or whatever, Make-A-Wish Foundation lets you, have a phone conversation with some famous guy or go to Disneyland or whatever. So it's a real sort of heartstrings tugging organization. Well, just tonight I heard that the woman who runs it was accused of embezzling thousands of dollars from the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I guess that was her wish to make a little more money. And she bought 84 things for herself using the Make-A-Wish credit card. Anyway, so here's something that could be from the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Kevin Ford and Donald McNair were charged with various driving-related offenses in Buffalo, New York, after Ford's brother, Montgomery, drove Kevin's car up a telephone pole guide wire. The way, so you got a telephone pole here, and then there's a wire that goes down like this. It goes into the ground with a big metal stake to keep the telephone pole from falling over. Well, those have to be really strong cables. So Monty drove the car up the telephone guide wire and flipped the car. So Kevin, that's just to say Monty's brother, explained he'd been drinking and, safety first. So he turned the keys over to Monty, quote, who was blind but who always wanted to drive. Make a wish, Monty. Okay, well, those are some pretty good stories. A little levity in a maybe pretty dark time. at least dark for some folks of the Republican persuasion, a pretty bright time for a lot of other folks. I was talking today about how the EPA under Trump was run by a guy that Trump appointed who was I think a lobbyist or a executive for the coal companies before he took on the job of the Environmental Protection Agency. Isn't that sweet? But actually, it sounds as if Biden is putting people in positions that are like they're experts in their field. And science is going to be, just tonight, Fauci was on the air, and Biden was saying, we're going to be upfront and straight with the people, and when you make a mistake, we're going to tell it, and we're going to actually, fix it. So honesty in politics, what a concept. TV, hola. Oh, Keith, I have to tell your story. This is just too funny. Keith was my student. He's watching now. And he was my student, AP Biology, many years ago. Gosh, that's back in the old building, so it's probably in the early 90s. And we went to Morro Bay for a weekend, trip, during which a particular student did some illegal driving, but we won't talk about that. And we had so much fun. We stayed up late at night singing and cooking and, just all kinds of stuff. Keith came back so exhausted that he's now one day behind us all because he went home having had too much fun and slept for 24 hours. So he missed a day of his life. So he's one day behind us now. And Keith, you're never going to make that day up. But not only is Keith like just totally going for it, I mean, grabbing life and hugging it and getting all he can out of it. There's another time when I was teaching respiration, and the way you actually can measure the BMR, basal metabolic rate, is to see how much oxygen is being consumed, because you consume oxygen, you burn it with glucose in your bloodstream, and then you get energy. So how much oxygen you're consuming can tell how much what your basal metabolic rate is. So Keith was the volunteer. He's on the floor, and he has this, like a diving, scuba diver's thing in his mouth. But instead of measuring oxygen intake, we have this weird little thing that the air goes out and goes back into Keith, but it takes out all the CO2. And so it's CO2, carbon dioxide, that like you hold your breath and you start to get that panicky sensation. That's because the carotid body right here is monitoring carbon dioxide levels. And of course, increased carbon dioxide level means the pH of the blood is dropping because it's becoming more acidic with carbonic acid, H2CO3. And so that means that your body's very sensitive to that because you're going to die. So it's really not sensitivity to oxygen that matters. Which brings up the interesting point that I have thought about this. When I get old and I can't teach anymore, it's going to be really depressing. So it has occurred to me that maybe the coward's way out, which I will be glad to take because it'll just be too depressing to not be able to teach, is helium. So you build a tent and then you have helium gas that goes in there, and it's a painless way. You just go out and you don't even notice that you're not breathing oxygen because your body does not detect oxygen levels. And it won't be detecting CO2 levels because there will be so much helium in there. Kind of a macabre story, but let's not go into that. I was talking about... so Keith is on the floor and we're taking out all the CO2 and there's enough oxygen in there, but it's not an infinitely large supply. So he starts to turn pale and it's like... I just quick, so take out the hope and let him start to breathe, because he would have just kept on going because I said, just breathe through this thing. So Keith, good to see you again. I'm glad you're still alive and apparently quite healthy after all these years. Okay, well, we're going to get to our songs now. And as I say, because of the rain and the rain that we can celebrate now and what's coming in the near future, I figured we'd just do a bunch of rain songs. I'm sure there's a pun here, a deluge of rain songs maybe. But it's kind of funny because I was on my way home tonight and I saw this guy down by Fink White Park, and he was just walking along, and I waved to people. So I waved to him, and then I saw that he had a phone with him. He was on a phone. He's walking along, and it just hit me. I don't have my phone. Oh, I went over because he came up later, a couple seconds later. I said, "Did you have a phone out?" He says, "Yeah." And he needed 86 cents to buy the bus, and I happen to have 86 cents, so he got 86 cents. But I got a clue that the phone was back at school, so I would have come all the way home and then not had my phone, and then I sprint back to school and get my phone. So I want to thank that guy for having a phone out and, cluing me in. So let's get to Campfire here. If we can pull it out of here. All right, come on. Okay, so yeah, like my cool little flashlight? Well, you can't really see it, but it's a whole, well, yeah, I'll show you how you see it. My kids are making these flashlights. It's part of a kit thing, see? It's a little thing, and it has a nickel on the bottom, so you can stand it up on the table, and it shines light like that. But we're not going to use it now because we're going to have another light. Okay, that might almost work. A little higher, and then down a little bit more. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think my rain jacket is actually probably ready to get retired, but anyways, we still got it. Nope. What happened? Okay, let's start with some songs. And I don't know. What are we going to start with here? Oh, let's start off with a Beatles song, appropriately titled Rain. Now, unfortunately, I don't have my partner here. When I lived in Chico, I was a professional singer. We went and sang at I don't know how I met this woman, but she was really good. I mean, way better than I am at singing. But we just made a duet, and we would, sing weddings and stuff. And this is one of our favorite songs. So it's going to be, there's this grading fourth or maybe a fifth, the harmony. And I can't do both parts. So you have to just imagine the other part. This is a John Lennon song, and he was always a bit more strident than Paul McCartney, who had these lovely songs, Michelle and Rita and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to do this one, and when the rain comes, they run and hide their heads. They might as well be dead. When the rain comes, when the rain comes, when the sun shines, they slip into the shade. When the sun shines, they sip their lemonade. When the sun shines, when the sun shines, rain, I don't mind. Shine. I can show you that when it rains and shines, when it rains and it's just a state of mind. I can show you, I can show you. Rain. Don't mind. Shine. The weather's fine. When the rain comes. Well, let's switch gears here a little bit, and maybe we're going to do a song by the great Jose Feliciano. I think he was a blind guy, but man, he could sure play and sure sing. So let's do a song called, I don't know what it's called. Anyways, it's kind of a medley of different things. A love song. Rain and Love seems to weave its warp and woof through several of these songs. Listen to the falling rain, listen to it fall. And with every drop of rain, you know I love you more. Say I love you right out loud, echo thunder above the cloud. Long as we are here together, who cares about the weather? Listen to the falling rain, listen to it fall. And with every drop of rain, you know I love you more. Say I love you right out loud, echo thunder above the cloud. Long as we are here together, who cares about the weather? Listen to the falling rain, listen to it fall. It's raining, it's pouring, the old man is snoring. He went to bed and he bumped his head and he didn't get up in the morning. Listen to the falling rain, listen to it fall. And with every drop of rain, you know I love you more. Say I love you right out loud, echo thunder above the cloud. Long as we are here together, who cares about the weather? Listen to the falling rain, listen to it fall. Listen to it fall. Listen to it fall. Yeah, go Jose. Now there's another song. Again, I think maybe the romantic thing is in part because if you get caught out in the rain and you know you're shivering cold. Oh, I hope you've all seen a movie called The Day After Tomorrow, in which young Jake Gyllenhaal, whatever his name is, they're trapped in this climate disaster, and they're in the New York Public Library, and the whole world is frozen, and people are dying in instant freezing and whatnot. And he has to talk to his dad on the phone, and the water's rising because the flood is coming in, and it's just great disaster movie in so many ways. And the water's, you know, it's cold, and so he gets back into the room in the library where they're burning all the books to stay warm, and his romantic interest is beautiful young lady, of course. I mean, you know, she's got to be beautiful and she's got to be young, and he's got a crush on her. So he's just like shivering to death, and oh yeah, and he's by the fire, so his arms are going to warm up. But then she starts taking off his jacket or her jacket and just starts hugging him, and he's a very innocent young guy, right? And he's like saying, what are you doing? I mean, he's loving it, but it's like, what's going on? You're being so forward. This is my dream come true. And she says, well, didn't you remember in physiology class where he talked about if your extremities warm up before your core does, then the blood can flow back too quickly to your heart and, you know, cause problems. So I'm trying to warm up your core. And she says, are you doing okay? Yeah, I'm doing okay. So this is a song about being caught out in the rain. Nothing near that dire. It's by John Sebastian of the Love and Spoonful, and it's called "Rain on the Roof." Rain on the roof. What's our key? Oh, yeah. Let's take it down just a little bit. You and me and rain on the roof, caught up in a summer shower, drying while it soaks the flowers. Maybe we'll hot for hours, waiting now the sun. You and me were gabbing away, dreamy conversation sitting in the hay. Honey, how long was I laughing in the rain with you? 'Cause I didn't feel a drop till the thunder brought us through. Of tin, pretty country feeling, how the rain ain't leaking in. We can sit and dry just as long as it can pour. Just the way you makes you look makes me hope it rains some more. You and me and rain on the roof, caught up in a summer shower, drying while it soaks the flowers. Maybe we'll be caught for hours, waiting now the sun. Yeah. So cute, so touching. Well, our final rain song here is by the Cascades. I think they had just one hit, and it's really funny. I went back, I was looking up one of the verses, and when I was a kid, rock stars all were handsome. I mean, they had long hair, and they're all really good looking. Or at least that was what all the accoutrements, you know, the vest, the lifestyle, the whole thing, they just were, you know, my idols. But now looking at like these Cascade guys, man, they're just regular Joes. I mean, they're not really incredibly handsome. I mean, there are some very handsome singers in the world, and were back then. Johnny Mathis comes to mind as not just sounding handsome, but looking handsome. But these guys were just kind of like regular guys that were really good musicians, although they only had one-hit wonders I know of. So we're going to do whatever it's called. Okay, I just said it. What I just say? Listen to the music. Listen to the rain. Where are we here? Oh, yeah. No, that's not it. Okay, here we go. Sorry. This is too bright. Let's have a candle for the last two songs, just to sort of make that cozy rain feeling, huh? What do you say? By the way, Carlos, I'm honored with your presence. Uh-oh, candle, you gonna die on us? Come on, oh, it just died, ay, ay, ay. These are cheap candles with cheap wicks. There's no wick at all. Come on. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, sorry. Oh wait, there's another candle here, I think. Yeah, okay. This might work after all. Come on. Damn candle. Okay, take out this old sorry candle and put in a good one. Okay, got it. Listen to the rhythm of the falling rain, telling me just what a fool I've been. I wish that it would go and let me cry in vain, and let me be alone Rain, please tell me now, does that seem fair? For her to steal my heart away when she don't care. Can't love another when my heart's somewhere far away. Listen to the rhythm of the falling rain, telling me just what a fool I've been. I wish that it would go and let me cry in vain, and let me be alone again. The only girl I care about is gone away, looking for a brand new start. Little did she know that when she left my day, along with her she took my heart. Rain, please tell her that I love her so. Please tell the sun to set her heart aglow. Rain in her heart and let the love we knew start to grow. Rain, please tell me now, does that seem fair? For her to steal my heart away when she don't care. I can't love another while my heart's somewhere far away. Listen to the rhythm of the falling rain. Pitter patter, whoa. Listen to the rhythm of the falling rain. Well, hope you enjoyed number 41. Oh, and I'm thinking about figuring out how to get these guys on YouTube, because only people have to have a Facebook account, but anybody can go to YouTube. So if anybody, I think I can figure out how to do that. But so this one may be going up on YouTube, and then that way you might have more folks that can have fun with a campfire. So, time for our final song, and you know what it is. When the night has come and the land is dark and the mountains are moonlight is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. And darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. When the sky we look upon should tumble and fall, and the mountain should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. So darling, stand by me. Whoa, stand by me. Whoa, stand by me. Stand by me. Stand by me, whoa, stand by me, whoa, stand by me. Whenever you're in trouble, won't you stand by me, whoa, stand by me, whoa, stand by me, stand by me. already rained. Ah, thank you, Thong.